Welcome to another episode of Home Sweet Home. My name is Rod McCall.
And my name is the very annoyed Bryce Runge right now.
Well,
But
we're going to focus on the Bryce Runge. I mean, because at the end of the day, we got to make sure that you are the true, the one, the only, the authentic.
Yes. That would be
Bryce Runge.
That would be the
Yes, I mean,
Bryce Runge.
Often imitated, never duplicated.
Never duplicated. There are more Bryce Runges, though.
There are?
Yes. Definitely not as cool as me, though.
Well, I would have to agree, but I've never met them, so
Yeah.
I mean, I only
You
know.
should stop.
Okay.
I'm sure there's other Rodney McCalls out there, too.
Well, actually, if you do Google, because I've Googled myself, there are. One of them is actually a Hollywood actor. And being a white guy, one of them's a black gentleman.
Okay.
And that's definitely not me either. So, but yes. You know, one of my favorites, I had a birthday card many years ago that said that, you know, when they made you, they broke the mold.
Oh, yeah.
You open it up and says, and then they beat the hell out of the mold maker. So,
Gee, thanks. Happy birthday to me. Glad I was born. Oh, good Lord.
well.
Good Lord. Those birthday card makers. That's what we should be doing.
What?
Why? Wait, first of all, not we. You.
What do you mean?
Like, you should come up with a birthday card, like, lineup. Like,
Okay. Well, you know, okay.
I don't know if you could make a lot of money, but...
No,
you know,
I would be a poor, starving artist. But speaking of birthday cards,
I bet they would be hilarious, though.
going back way, way, way back, and my family can attest to this, we would give gifts of love to each other.
Okay.
Valentine's Day, birthday, stuff like that. No, you would open up and it would be, you know, for your birthday, I will do this chore for you. I'll do that chore for you. And so on the back of my cards, well, because they were homemade, they were never a Hallmark card. They were a Rodmark card. So I guess at one point you could argue that I did have my own.
You did have your own. Do you think anyone still has those?
I bet my mother does somewhere.
Yeah. My mom will bring, she brought some, my parents were out last week.
Yeah.
And she brought some stuff, and there was like my weekly checklist. Like, you have to get parents to sign your stuff.
Oh, yeah?
I was that kid. I'm like, oh, great. Thanks for the reminder of being such a terrible child, raising a child. Thanks, Mom. Anyways, but she'll also bring some cards that I made.
Okay.
And they're kind of cute and sweet.
Made you cry?
Yeah. No, not really. No, not really.
Well.
I already had my cry last night as I ran to grab sushi late. Don't eat sushi late and then go to bed. You have some pretty bizarre dreams. Okay? Just bizarre. I was like being chased by a Russian mafia or something, and anyways, and then I was coming home, and the drive's like 3.5 minutes away, and I'm listening to Brandon Lake, and I'm like just crying, and just
The music?
I know it's okay to cry as a man. Don't be judging me right now.
I ain't judging
Yes,
you.
Brandon Lake music song.
Okay.
And like I said before, I'm going through some things. I don't know what it is. God's moving in me. But yeah, I'm just like, really?
You know, funny you bring that up because, one, don't eat sushi late at night.
Yeah.
Discount from a convenience store.
No, it wasn't. It was not. We stay away from that for very good reasons.
But you also brought up the idea that you're listening to music and music generated an emotional response.
Yes.
And so I ran across this article. And I thought that might be fitting to, since you brought that up, we could maybe talk about it today.
Okay.
But the guy's name, I'm going to butcher it. His name is Shahram Heshmat. And he
Sounded
is
legit to me.
he is a professor. He teaches at the University of Illinois. And he is a professor.
Go Illini.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's okay. But he's a professor emeritus of health economics of addiction. And anyway, he wrote this blog on how listening to music can affect your mood.
Ah, interesting.
And I would have to say, based on your observation that you just made,
Yeah.
that is true.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, you're asking me. Yes. Sorry.
No, that's fine. That's fine. And I would have to, and I guess what prompted me to kind of read this article a little more in depth is because I kind of agree.
Yeah.
And I mean, I was back in college when I was living in Kansas City, and I don't know how it came up, where it came up, but they were talking about how listening to classical music can influence how you drive. Mm-hmm. And I thought, oh, that's bullshit. And I guess that's not the right kind of term. It's a legal term. Anyway, so I thought, okay, whatever. Let's try it. So I found a classical station on the radio. And I
Did you have to like flip through multiple stations to find a classical?
I did. I think I was on the AM bandwidth.
Oh my goodness!
So I find this.
This must definitely was like in 1988,
88, 89, something like that. Anyway, so I'm listening to this classical music, and I'm driving, and there's a major interstate loop that goes around Kansas City called 435.
Okay.
And so I'm driving on 435, and it's 8 lanes of traffic, and I'm thinking, okay, let's give it a whirl. And so I put it on, and I'm not thinking a whole lot. I'm just, driving.
Yeah.
And I'm just driving around, goofing around, killing time. And next thing you know, I was actually doing what they said I would do. And when the music was kind of mellow,
yeah,
I was driving mellow. I was driving in traffic, middle lane. I wasn't paying attention to my speed.
Yeah.
I was just driving.
Yeah.
I was going with the flow. But when the music went upbeat and up tempo, I was weaving in and out of traffic, aggressive driving, honking the horn, saying hello, giving them the number one salute, all that kind of stuff.
You're number one.
Yeah, kind of like I normally do. Anyway, but when I started driving, when I went from upbeat music to the more mellow music again, was when I began to realize, holy cow.
Yeah.
The music was indeed influencing how I drove.
Yeah.
And so when I'm reading this article, I was kind of like, music does influence us, how we act, how we behave, that kind of thing. And so I thought we might kind of dive into this.
I think it's a great one. Okay. So if you're driving right now, you should maybe find some calm classic music to listen to. I think you should tune every channel into calm classic. I would 100% agree that music does have the power to dictate our behaviors. And you like you, I have many stories to share how music has proven that while driving, even just sitting or working out. We typically have in both of our vehicles our channels set to the Christian channel, and every once in a while I'll veer off to a different channel, and I'll find myself listening to something from like the 90s, late 80s, 90s. And I do notice or recognize a change in attitude.
Really?
Yeah. It depends on, what it is. I I could go from calm, cool, just like you said, driving, and if I come across Dr. Dre, I may lean a little bit, sink a little bit in my chair, and if you look at me wrong, you might be seeing me on one of those TikToks. I might get ghetto on you.
Really?
But yeah, it's interesting how music can just switch. You know, Braddock's he's a teen now. He's 14, and which is crazy. He's gonna be a freshman. He is a freshman now, and you know, I try and get him to like listen to the different things, and then I'll find out what he's listening to. I'm like, are you really listening to it? Because you need to be careful of what you're listening to. A lot of things on, you know, music these days is garbage. And
Okay.
Garbage in,
Garbage out.
garbage out. And so I'm trying to encourage him to pay attention to what you're listening to, because music will definitely influence your behaviors. And we know that music these days is you know, not all, right? You're not going to hear a sexually charged, you know, drug, you know, sex, drugs, and rock and roll in a classical song. But in a lot of music, you will. And I said, you just need to be careful of that, because what you listen to
Okay.
can influence your decisions and behaviors and how you treat others.
You know, it's interesting you bring that up, and I would agree. You know, around here in North Texas, you know, we get all these people that are hooting and hollering. Well, I guess it's nationwide anymore.
Oh yeah,
But people are hooting
probably
and hollering.
from California.
Maybe. But they're you know, hooting and hollering about the books that are in the school libraries.
Oh yeah.
And okay, fair enough. Though, given the fact that there's few kids that are reading books these days, I question, if you are so worried about the books that are in the public school library, are you equally monitoring the music that they listen to, the TV shows they watch, the movies that they view, and the stuff that they look at on the internet? Mm-hmm. Because if you are, then okay, congratulations.
Sure.
I'm a way to be a very observant, engaged parent. Mm-hmm. But I find most of the time, the parents that scream the loudest at the school board meetings are not paying attention to what their kids are listening to.
Yeah, they get in the car with their kids and they're listening to some, I would call inappropriate.
Yes.
You know?
Because, you know, you listen to songs, and that's kind of, you know, I find it interesting. You know, I'd heard this before, and it wasn't until much later that I began to understand. But they say when you're happy, you sing the lyrics.
Yeah.
When you're sad, you listen to the lyrics.
Yeah.
And I have to totally agree, because I had an experience, you know, shortly after Eric died. I was working as a school janitor.
Okay.
And I wasn't sleeping very much. And so I would get up and I'd go in and I'd clean the building around, you know, 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. And so I'm there totally by myself. And I'm listening to music, and all my music is downloaded. I got about like 600-700 songs that are downloaded. And they're on shuffle, so they're just randomly picked. So I'm I'm running the vacuum sweeper and I'm listening to my music, and on comes a song by John Cougar Mellencamp, Jack and Diane.
Okay.
And that song, I'm listening to the words, and when they were saying life goes on long after the thrill of living is gone, I'm going, yeah. Because again, I mean, we're talking, I don't know, a month or two after Eric had been killed.
Yeah.
And the joy of my life was gone,
right,
but life was still going on. But that song, and it was very powerful for me to hear that, because again, I was listening to the lyrics rather, because I mean, that was one of my favorite songs,
right?
You know, and I know the words, and I mean, I'm just singing along, you know, but never had I really listened to the words. And that kind of ties in with one of the first things that this guy talks about. And he says it can help us cope with stress.
Yeah.
Help us deal with depression. Because again, we're listening to the lyrics when we're kind of in a down mood.
Yeah.
And so sometimes songs can help us out a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's spot on. You know, it's funny is that I see a lot on Reels or TikTok or whatever. A lot of these people, that listen to song like you and I did in the 80s and 90s and whatnot. We would just sing, blah, blah. And most of the time we don't even know the lyrics. We're just singing. And then it's funny, all these TikToks now or Reels that come out, like they show the lyrics and people are like, you mean to tell me this whole entire time that's actually what it said? But there's songs like that I even caught, like, listening to it, I'm like, oh my gosh, for like 20 years, I didn't realize that's actually what it said.
Really? I was saying that, the number of times that the artist got the lyrics wrong because I've been singing it the right way and they've been singing, but, no, and, I was, okay. I don't watch a lot of daytime TV, but as it is summer and the talk shows are on and the TV is on and Sherry's working from home. And so it was Kelly Clarkson. Okay. I don't watch her. I don't listen to her music very often, but it was on and I happened to be walking by and she was talking about how her divorce, the music helped her. She wrote a song or two that was about her divorce. And I've heard many artists talk about how their life helps them write songs, and by writing those songs, it helps them deal with or process. And so it's kind of neat that music can help not only those of us who listen, but those who write. And how many great songs come out of somebody's life experience.
Oh, yeah. I mean, in general, there's just so many things that come from that, right? And I think I remember seeing that Kelly Clarkson thing.
Yeah.
As she deals with that and writes and as an artist and then puts it out there, she's also helping others.
Exactly.
Right. And so I would agree that, that's definitely helping cope with stress. You should listen to more classical music as you drive. I'm just a random thought. Anyways.
Well, the second thing that he talks about is how music can take us down memory lane.
Oh, boy.
And I totally agree.
Yeah.
One of my very good friends growing up, his name is David. And we were friends from elementary school, second, third grade. We were good pals, even though we went to different middle schools. We came back together in high school and we just hung out all the time. And both of us were kind of shy, nerdy guys as we were in high school, but he had a really great classic car, a 64 Buick Riviera.
Okay.
This was a sleek muscle car. And so we would drive around, and every time this song comes on, I remember us driving. But it's Motley Crue's Girls, Girls, Girls.
Oh, yeah.
And we would have the windows down, crank that on the radio as loud as it would go, and we'd just be cruising down the main street of our hometown and, just going slow and trying to be Joe Cool, which we absolutely were not. And so, again, I guess it's a fond memory for me, especially since he passed away about 12 years ago. It was kind of a very sad thing. Yeah. But anyway, so music, it says, can generate memories.
And I just went ahead and pulled up that 64 Riviera, and dang, I bet you guys were pretty cool. I'm just checking that car. I wanted to pull up the actual vehicle and envision you two sitting in it, and I'm like, dang.
Oh, yeah.
So now I'm going to type in the car that I had.
Okay. All right. What kind of car did you have?
So this is the Dodge. This is my lowrider.
Okay, you had a lowrider.
Yep, I know. It's floating around there somewhere on the internet.
Okay,
it was a Dodge Dart.
Oh Lord,
it was a Dodge.
Okay,
Dart.
I know what it is. What year?
It was a '71 Dodge Dart, man. Okay. And That thing was pretty much scraping the ground. And, like you, my childhood friend Bob and I, this was during our skating days and all that. And, again, I'm thinking I'm a bad dude. I know everything, right? But there are a few Snoop Dogg songs, one in particular that I will not mention. Yes, I listen to Snoop Dogg. Every once in a while, I might.
That's all right.
I might listen to it, but then I have to get off of this. Anyways, there was one song, and then we were in Huntington Beach, and we were turning left, and that thing's sitting on the ground, and Bob decides to just stare down a cop, and next thing you know, we're pulled over, and we're still bumping. Cops both sides of the vehicle, hand on the gun, and we're still bumping. He's asked me twice to turn it off, and I'm like, total attitude. He should have pulled me out and kicked the crap out of me is what he should have done. It would have been totally fine then. But yeah, I had an attitude, and that music, and I like Snoop Dogg, and I think he's a good dude, and that music. It influenced me. I grew a different attitude. I had a different attitude then. And every time, like you said, if I turn the channel, I find it 90s. If I listen to Metallica or something,
oh yeah,
I'm going back to the mosh pit. I'm throwing people around.
It's amazing. I mean, it's stuff that happens, organically, naturally. Right. You don't really think about it until you start thinking about it.
Yeah.
Because, again, music can generate lots of fond memories. Like Christmas. There's certain Christmas songs that I love because I have a fond memory associated with that. One of my favorite songs growing up, again in high school, was Monet Monet by Billy Idol with the added lyrics. And every time I hear that song, I go back to the high school gym, and we're screaming at the top of our lungs at the school dance. Those added words. So again, it's a lot of good times. Sometimes it can take you to a sad place though, which is the next thing he talks about. He says you can kind of maybe sometimes find some pleasure in some sad music. And I'm a big George Strait fan. Okay. All right. And even before I lived here in Texas, I was a big George Strait fan. Okay. And he had a movie called Pure Country that came out in the early 90s. And I was watching that here, again, God bless summer. But I was watching it here one afternoon here a week or two or more ago. And I'm watching it. At the very end, he sings a song called I Cross My Heart. Or Cross My Heart. I forget the exact title. Right. Anyway, but he says, I cross my heart and I promise to. And I hadn't seen that movie in forever.
Yeah.
And so I'm listening to that song, and it took me back to kind of a sad memory. Okay. Because that was the song that Eric's mom and that was our first dance song at our wedding reception. And it made me very angry because I'm going, you didn't live up to your end of the bargain of that song.
Right.
And so kind of, it wasn't necessarily a sad song, but it took me to a place that kind of made me sad.
Right.
And I started to tear up. And in fact, I turned it off.
Yeah.
I turned it off, and because I was going to a place I didn't want to, but I realized I needed to go and face that because that was a memory I had forgotten. Yeah. Because if you had asked me before I'd seen that movie, well, what was the first song you danced to at your first wedding? I couldn't have told you.
Right.
And so, but seeing that movie, listening to that song, so I went back and I listened to the song again, and I forced myself. Yeah. And I teared up. And kind of like you were saying a little bit ago, you kind of cried a little bit. It did. And then, but I also liked it because it made me realize, okay, you're doing it again. Yeah. You've crossed your heart and you've promised to. Are you living up to what the song says you should do? Right. If you're in love with somebody, are you doing these things? Yeah. And so it was a nice reminder. But sometimes, he's saying that sad songs are fine because you got to listen to them because it's okay to make you cry.
Right.
And I guess, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just kind of listening to you, and it's, as music will often do that, because you listen to certain songs as they, first came out with, a girlfriend or a boyfriend, 20 years ago, and that one song comes up, and it's going to take you directly back 20 years, right? And so, I was talking to our, Brian Bill Hartz, our good friend and guest on the show. We're talking about that specifically. He lives in Palm Springs area, California, and there's a big concert called Coachella or something. I don't know what it is, but Blink 182 was playing, and he sent me the live feed, and I'm like, there I go. I go back, and we were talking about it's okay to go and listen, reminisce or whatnot. Just know that you're different. You don't live there anymore. Not physically, both physically and whatever you call that. But it does. It takes you to that place, and some are sad. But like you mentioned earlier with your friend, there were certain songs, and you could go there, but you could learn from certain things also. And like you just explained, like you face the music literally, and you learned. You took an opportunity to grow. And so I applaud you, because it's not often easy. Some people can maybe listen to a song for just a little bit, and then they have to turn it off and not go back. Yeah. It takes a lot of courage to turn that song back on and listen to it in its entirety. And what can I glean from this? Right. And so, but yeah, I would agree.
Well, the fourth thing that he brings up, and now this is me. You ever chair danced?
Is this a trick question? Is this like a pole dance? Like, what is it? Where's this going?
No, when you hear a song and you just start grooving in your chair, you're driving.
Oh, you're dancing in your chair.
Yeah, chair dancing.
Wow.
Chair dancing.
Not even what I thought. I'm sorry, people.
No, what I'm
my
saying.
mind, yes, I am a guy, and yes.
Okay, well,
sometimes I'm immature. Wow.
But no, you listen to different songs. Like, okay, from the movie Madagascar, King Julian song, Move It, Move It.
I like to move it. I like to move it.
Yeah, and next thing you know, you're dancing. Or, the happy song. Or, different songs. The next thing you know, you're snapping your finger, you're moving side to side, and you're just carrying on.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, that's music. And I love when that happens. Okay, I got the chicken dance on my playlist.
Of course you do.
And because my music is always on shuffle. And so I played in the classroom all the time. And because, again, I don't do well with dead silence, but I love the music.
Yeah.
And I've read, and I've even had people tell me that music stimulates brain activity.
Right.
And so I played in the classroom, and one day it popped on. And so I tell the kids, because they were doing their independent practice or their activity at their desk, and I said, I tell you what, if anybody stands up and dances the chicken song till it ends, I said, I will give you the answers to the assignment. You'll get a perfect. I'll give you 100 on it. And I had about half a dozen kids, and they stood up and they did the chicken dance, the entire song. And it was hilarious.
That's awesome.
But
way to create an awesome, positive classroom culture.
Well, I don't know about that, but it was hilarious. But again, music makes you want to dance.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, people have been dancing since the beginning of time.
Right.
And I mean, but I love the way music, and this is what he's saying, that people enjoy they love to dance, and that's because music makes you.
Right.
And I cannot tell you how many songs I have. That's pretty much my entire playlist. Or toe tapping, finger snapping, head nod,
get you moving.
Yeah. And so it generates all kinds of positives, which ties into his last thing.
Okay.
When you're jamming to your tunes, time seems to disappear.
Ah.
And that because it can be so powerful and it
Yeah.
can do all these things. It can make, can have, an influence on your mood. It can transport you through time and you're dancing. And next thing you know, real time has moved forward without you really realizing it.
Right.
And I did that of all of these 5 things. This is the one that I'd never really pondered.
Right.
But I found it to be true. And so I would encourage anybody that, listen to music and see, I guess that's why people like to drive, listening to music, because it helps speed by the trip. Because,
right, yeah.
You don't realize, oh my gosh, man, we've been driving for the last 4 hours. It doesn't feel like 4 hours.
Yeah.
I got to pee, so let's pull over. Music can kind of stop time.
Right.
And because you're so enjoying or going through the emotional issues
Right.
and the memory issues of the music that, wow.
Yeah.
And so I thought that was pretty cool.
That is cool. I'm just thinking, if you think about it, like pretty much everywhere you go, there's music being played.
I find when I go to the grocery store, they're playing music from my high school days.
Are you serious?
It's both gratifying and aggravating at the same time. I'm going, man, I used to dance these at the high school dance.
What kind of food do you buy?
I mean,
No, you don't need to go down the list. I'm just what kind of food do you purchase based off of your aggravation of the music that's being played?
I don't know that. I'll have to see if I can find an article if somebody done research.
But really, music is everywhere.
Yeah.
Stores, like you said, grocery stores. We play it at schools during the passing period. You should be, at least. If you're not playing music in the passing period at school, you're not a cool school. I'm just gonna drop it right there.
Amen. I love that we do that.
Yeah,
I do.
you should even be playing it in your classroom. I did that.
Yeah.
As kids would enter my classroom, I had music going because I
did
wanted
too.
to set the tone.
Yes.
I wanted to regulate the environment, and through music, I could
Yes.
do that. I could help do that.
My music is on whenever it's independent practice, it's my music. And they go, Can we listen to music? I go, yes, hold on, let me hit the play button.
They're like,
And then
no,
I go,
we don't want to listen to your songs from 1972.
and I'm going, hey, if it's Journey, baby, shut up. Culture. But anyway, so I love music.
Yeah.
And it can have so many positive health benefits. So I say thank you, Dr. Heschmidt, for blogging this out.
Yes, thank you.
Because I Yahoo totally.
Yeah,
that's all I got.
I would agree. I think it's a great. It's a great article, very valid, legit points, and yeah, I don't know. My thing is just whatever. I'm not going to get too preachy.
Okay.
Just about
Well, it's not Sunday.
no, but it's Monday.
Can be.
Is it Monday?
I don't know what day it is.
It's Tuesday.
I don't know. Maybe
It's a day that ends in Y.
Hey, it is. I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah.
Well, let's go celebrate the why.
Why?
Why not?
Anyways, let's go listen to some music. Let's go jump in
right.
your car.
All right. Hey, we
And-
can listen to a little Kansas, a little
I was
Journey.
thinking, let's put on like Ice Cube. Today was a great day.
Maybe we get some iced tea to go with the ice cube.
Well, iced teas? Okay. We can put on iced tea too. If you want. Let's do it.
All right.
We'll come back and we'll test this hypothesis, and we'll let you know if we come back. We're not sitting in Collin County Jail. Anyways.
Well, until
Good one.
next time, I'm Rod.
I'm Bryce.
Peace.
Bye.